Hello, my dear friends. Today I'm talking about the houses in Horary astrology. To understand how it works, who is who in the chart when you put a question. At the heart of Horary is the house system. Think of the houses as rooms in a cosmic mansion. Each room has a purpose and usually contains a person, an object, or a life situation. Understanding who or what lives in each house is the key to unlocking the chart. It's important to understand few principles. In this situation, we have the querent. Always start with the first house. This is you or the person asking the question. Everything in the chart revolves around your perspective. The subject or matter. Identify the relevant house connected to your question. For example, if you are asking about a lost item, the second house might come into play for possessions, or the seventh house for another person involved. The rulers. Each house has a planetary ruler based on the sign on the cusp. These rulers often act as characters in your story, giving personality and intent to each house. Aspects and interactions are the ingredients between rulers that tell you whether things will flow smoothly, face delays, or encounter obstacles. In practical terms, the Horary chart is like a snapshot of a situation frozen in time, revealing who is actively participating, who is passive, and what forces are at play. Once you learn the language of houses, the charts stop being intimidating. Before I dive into each individual house, it's essential to understand the core principles that makes the houses work in Horary astrology. If you treat each house like a room with a purpose and an occupant, the chart instantly becomes much easier to read. So here is what you need to know. Houses are who and what. Every house answers a fundamental question. Who or what is involved in this matter? Think of the houses as like stories. Each one has a protagonist, a planet or ruler, and the setting, the house itself. For example, the first house is always about you, the querent, while the seventh house is usually the other person involved in your question. Understanding who lives where is your first step in reading the chart. The zodiac sign of the cusp of the house gives the house its personality. This is like describing the character of the room's occupant. For example, Aries is in the first house. You approach the situation boldly and head-on. But Pisces in the seventh house, let's say, the other person might be dreamy, indirect, or elusive. Signs bring flavor and nuance to the houses, showing how energy is expressed. Each house has a planetary ruler based on the sign of the house. These rulers are the active participants in the scenario. For example, if you are asking about a job, the 10th house represents career. If Capricorn is on the cusp, Saturn is the ruler. Saturn's condition and aspects will tell you how the career matter unfolds. The ruler can be strong, weak, or under stress, which indicates the ace or difficulty of the situation. Always track the ruler of the house. It's often the most important planet in answering the question. Planets don't exist in isolation. Aspects between rulers or between planets in K houses are the conversations, conflicts, or collaborations happening in your horary scenario. For example, trines and sextiles, it means flow, cooperation, smooth outcomes. Squares and oppositions, tension, obstacles, or delays. Conjunctions, merging of energy, often intense or transformative. Think of aspects as the social dynamics between the people in your chart. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for accurate horary interpretation. Some houses are naturally stronger in a chart than others. A house is strong if its ruler is well placed in terms of sign and dignity. Its ruler makes supportive aspects in the relevant houses. The house is angular. I mean it's first, fourth, seventh, or 10th. These are naturally more powerful in horary and activate everything it's in those houses. Knowing which houses are strong helps you focus on the key players and the most reliable parts of the chart. Hellenistic astrologers pay attention to the house type. Angular, as I said, the first, the fourth, the seventh, the 10th. Houses of action and influence. Think of them as the main stages where the drama happens. The succedent houses, the second, the fifth, the 8th, and the 11th, are houses of stability, resources, and support. They add depth but are slightly less immediate. Cadent, the 3rd, the 6th, the 9th, and the 12th. Houses of preparation, learning, and hidden factors. They often indicate background influences rather than overt action. Understanding this helps you prioritize where to look first in the chart. Finally, the context is everything. Horary works best when the question is clear and the astrologer knows which house represents which subject. For example, will I get the job? The first house is you, the 10th house is the job, the 6th house can show daily work or obstacles, the 2nd house can show salary, wages, income. Where is my lost cat? The first house is you, the 2nd house can represent personal possessions, 12th house could indicate hidden places. Assigning houses to the question is sometimes creative, but always grounded in the traditional horary framework. A great way to start practicing is to pick a question about something small and concrete, like where are my keys, or will my friend reply to my message today? Then identify the querent, the first house, and the subject, the relevant houses linked to the topic of the question. Check the rulers and their aspects. Look to angularity and strength. Interpret the interactions like a story. Even small questions help you internalize the language of houses before moving on the more complex situation. You should see that the horary chart is like a living drama, with each house representing a character, each ruler a personality, and aspects as their conversations or conflicts. Once you understand these principles, reading the houses become intuitive, almost like seeing a real-life situation unfold in symbols. So, let's see how each house is working in horary astrology. First house, it's about yourself. The ruler is personal planet based on the sign. It's about identity, approach, physical presence, health. The first house is the star of the show. It represents you, the question, the asker. This is your starting point, your mindset, your energy, and your physical presence. Check the ruler of the first house. Its condition, aspects, and position show how you are experiencing the question. A well-placed ruler means confidence, empowered, querent. A stressed ruler, it's about obstacles, self-doubt, or delays. The second house, it's about material resources. The ruler is the planet of the sign of this house. It's about money, property, personal resources, values. The second house answers questions about what you own and what you value, both materially and emotionally. So, for example, will I get the money owned? The ruler of the second house shows the outcome. Do I really value this relationship? The second house can also reflect emotional investment. If the second house ruler is strong, Resources are secured. If weak or afflicted, it means delays, thefts, or misunderstandings may occur. The third house. It's about short journeys, siblings, neighbors, exams, interviews, negotiations. It's about information, news, local interactions. The third house rules communication, short travels, and nearby relationships. In Horary, it often answers how things happen. So, check the third house ruler. Aspects to third house ruler show timing or reliability. A well-aspected third house ruler, it means smooth communication. If it's challenged, it means delays, miscommunications, or surprises. The fourth house, it's about roots, home, family. It's about domestic life, security, emotional foundation. And this house, it shows where you come from and where you feel secure. It's your emotional anchor. Questions about property, family inheritance, or living situation, it's here. If the ruler is strong, it means home life is stable. If it's afflicted, tension, change, or upheaval at home. In Horary, the fourth house is sometimes hidden motivations or what's behind the scenes. The fifth house, it's about fun, romance, children, hobbies, love, self-expression, risk-taking. This house is the playground of the chart. It rules your creative energy, hobbies, romantic interests, and everything you do for enjoying yourself. Will I meet someone new? Look at the fifth house ruler. Will my project succeed? Fifth house shows enthusiasm, creativity, and risk-taking energy. Check aspects. If they are supportive, fun flows naturally. If it's challenged, obstacles or overlie risky ventures. Sixth house. It's about daily routine, service, health, work environment, service, and responsibilities. This house shows day-to-day reality, work, routines, and health. In Horary, it often reflects practical obstacles. If the ruler is strong, smooth day-to-day functioning. If it's afflicted, it means illness, workplace conflict, or logistical hardness. This house can warn about hidden difficulties in any endeavor. Don't overlook it when asking about practical outcomes. The seventh house. It's about significant others, partners, open enemies, relationships of any kind, contracts, negotiations. This house is the mirror opposite of the first house. If the first house is you, the seventh house is everyone you interact with in close cooperation or conflict. Want to know about a relationship or partnership? The seventh house ruler shows the other person's role, intentions, and reliability. If the ruler of the seventh house is afflicted, it means miscommunication, hidden agendas, or tension. If it's well placed, harmonious collaborations. In Horary, who's the other person often comes down to analyzing aspects between the first house and the seventh house rulers. Is the connected supportive, having trine sextiles, or tense square oppositions? That tells you the dynamic immediately. The eighth house, it's about others, people, money, taxes, inheritance, shared resources, debts, crisis, transformation. This house answers questions about resources you don't fully control, loans, inheritances, joint accounts, and even life-changing events. If you ask about the financial settlement, check the eighth house ruler. If it's afflicted, delays, disputes, or losses. If it's supported, smooth transactions or gain. Beyond the money, the eighth house is also about deep psychological or transformational experiences. If someone or something shakes your world, this is often the house involved. The ninth house is about long journeys, philosophy, higher education, exploration, law, spirituality. This house is your window to the wider world. Questions about travel, education, or legal matters usually involve the ninth. A strong ninth house ruler. It means successful journeys, fruitful learning, positive legal outcomes. If it's challenged, it means delays, misunderstandings, or restrictions. In Horary, always check aspects to the ninth house ruler for timing and obstacles. For example, a square from Saturn might delay a trip. A trine from Jupiter could indicate smooth travel or a fortunate learning opportunity. The 10th house. It's your public image and ambition, career, reputation, authority, achievements. This house is about how you are seen in the world. In Horary, it represents the goal or destination of your question, what you are trying to achieve. Ask about the promotion or recognition, check the 10th house ruler. If it's afflicted, means obstacles, delays, or reputation challenges. If it's strong, successful outcomes and authority gained. The angle between the first house ruler and the 10th house ruler, so you and your goal, is the story of the effort and achievement. A supportive angle, it means smooth progress. A tense angle, struggle but potential growth. 11th house, it's about friends, groups, social connections, support, hopes, networking, community. This house is your social network and alliances. In Horary, if you ask about support, collaboration, or funding your friends, the 11th house ruler shows who is likely to help and how. A well-aspected ruler of this house, it means strong support and unexpected aid. If it's afflicted, unreliable alliances, misunderstanding or delays. The 12th house is about secrets, confinement, unseen enemies, hidden issues, subconscious, karmic lessons. This house is the shadow realm of the chart. It shows things that are hidden, secretive, or beyond immediate control. Questions about hidden motives, secret enemies, or karma are here. A strong 12th house ruler, it means ability to handle hidden challenges gracefully. But if it's afflicted ruler, it means deceit, confinement, or unexpected setbacks. In Horary, the 12th house often warns about things lurking behind the scenes that might influence the outcome. Don't ignore it. It's your plot twist indicator. So, the first and the 7th house is about direct relationships. The second, connected with the 8, is about money and resources. The 3rd and 9 is about communication, learning, and travel. The 4th with the 10, foundation versus career. The 5th, connected with 11, it's about creative self and social support. 6 with 12, daily routines versus hidden obstacles. For example, let's say that we have the question, will my new business partnership succeed? Your first house, it's you, and it's about motivation and preparedness. The 7th house, it's your partner in this business, if it's reliable in intention. The 2nd and 8th house are talking about shared resources and investment. The 6th and 12th houses are talking about day-to-day obstacles and hidden risks. The 10th house is talking about public perception and professional success. By analyzing all these houses together, you get a full picture of the dynamics, not just the outcome, but the story, timing, and potential obstacles. Let's see some practical tips for reading Horary houses. Let's start with the question. Always write down the exact question. Horary works best when your mind is clear and focused. Identify the key players. Look at the rulers of the relevant houses, who represents the main people or elements in your question. For example, the first house is you, the 10th house ruler is the employer or the job itself. The third tip, check aspects because it's about storyline. Aspects between rulers tells the relationship dynamics, supportive, tense, or neutral. Look for strength and weaknesses. Dignity matters. A planet in its own sign is strong. Debilitated means weaker influence. For example, Venus in Taurus for love questions, it means strong and positive. Afflicted planet, it means obstacles or deceitful. Exalted means smooth outcomes, retrograde delays or reconsideration. Always combine dignity with aspects. A strong planet in a tense aspect is like a superhero in a tough battle, still powerful but challenged. Timing matters. Houses can indicate timing indirectly. Moon phases, moon's aspects, and the speed of planets play a role. The third and ninth houses often indicate short-term or long-term outcomes. If your question involves movement or change, job, travel, relationship, check moon aspects to the key rulers for when action might occur. Watch the shadow houses. The houses 12, 8, and sometimes 6th house indicate hidden factors or obstacles. Don't ignore them. Layer of story. Combine all information into a narrative. Who is involved? What are the obstacles? What is the likely outcome? For example, will my creative project be successful? The first house is you, ambitious and energized. 5th house is about creativity. If it's Jupiter ruled, strong and supported. 10th house is about public recognition. If moon is in harmony, positive reception. If the 11th house is supportive, let's say Venus conjunct Mercury, it's that network that will help you. If the 12th house, that means hidden risks, it's the Saturn in challenging aspect, it may stay disciplined. So your creativity is strong, the public will respond well, friends can help, but don't ignore small hidden obstacles. Likely outcome, success with attention to planning and discipline. Common mistakes that are made in interpretation, ignoring moon phases or speed. In this case, you can mislead timing. Overlooking the 12th house, you can miss hidden challenges. Forgetting dignity. Weak planets can fail despite good aspects. If you have a question or comment about this topic, are you using Horary astrology? Have you ever put a question about something that it was important for you? The answer of the astrologer have been useful for you or not? What do you think about Horary astrology? I'm waiting your questions and comments down below. Until next time, I wish you all the best. Bye-bye.